I have to trust Sean McVay.
Yeah.
He's just going to find a way. I think this offense is set up to really put up a lot of points and potentially win some real barn burners. Like I think Matt Stafford played some of the best football of his career last season. And I think that can go a long way when a guy's playing like that. I think he's a big eraser for them. Like he just makes a lot of stuff look right and happen the right way.
Hell, you could say that 10,000 times and it still wouldn't be enough.
It fires me up, man.
I love it. Say it one more time.
Shake it back!
Does that feel good?
Yeah, it rhymes. They're both verbs.
How important is Aaron Donald?
Very important. How important does Sean McVay still want to be there?
Yeah, I'm convinced that Sean McVay is still very.
I feel like Sean McVay's been trying to leave for years.
I think that. So here's what I think. McVay just had a really interesting interview on the Athletic Football Show today that came out. It sounded very much like he was over obsessed with football for a long time and had no life, and then got married, had a kid, and started to find more balance in his life and really started to enjoy it again more. So I think he's in it for the long haul.
Okay. The first thing I look at when I look at this team is early Sean McVay was fuck them picks, building for the future, we're winning now. And then you look at some of what they did in this offseason, going to sign Tre'Davious White, who has been a health risk, but when healthy, very good. But what I really like is getting Jonah Jackson there on your offensive line, shoring up maybe one of the weakest parts of your team in the last couple of years, but have somehow always seemed to make it work. It feels like they're really investing for a last 4 or 5 years of Matt Stafford, however much time he has left.
You know what they're investing in?
The
run duo down your damn throat. That's what they're investing in. This interior O line is like 1,500 pounds.
Yeah, and I mean, I talked about it all last year. Avila was one of my favorite guys in the draft. Loved him at that center spot.
That's a 330-pound center.
Love that for him.
You don't find those very often.
No, and then Kyren Williams looked fantastic for you down the stretch last year. I didn't love the Blake Corum pick, but if your idea is what you're saying, run the ball down your throat, that's what Blake Corum can do. But he's not gonna make it. He's not gonna make the big play for you. But if you give him 20 carries, he's gonna average 4 yards a carry. But his longest run of the season might be 15 yards.
You're running duo all game. You're pretty content with 5 yards a clip. Like you're picking them up and taking them down. Like to me, this looks like an offense that knows they're going to have to play ball control because Aaron Donald covered up a lot of shit on their defense the last few years, and he's gone. And they're going to need to score points and play ball control, and that's what they're set up to do.
They can do whatever they want on this offense. I love this offense. Matt Stafford is still an incredible quarterback. Puka Nacua looked phenomenal as a rookie. And if Cooper Kupp can come back and get you the targets and some catches, I mean, I would say Cooper Kupp. Is Cooper Kupp the 2 on this team? That's fair to say?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, Cooper Kupp go out there and catch you 80 balls, but can take over any game, any week, any time. That's incredible. And then with the running backs you have with Matt Stafford there, I mean, you might see some games where you run for 250 yards, and then the next week, Matt Stafford throw for 400 yards. I mean, I feel like you got a lot of options on this offense, and with Sean McVay at the helm,
yeah,
this offense is going to be hard to stop.
Let's just run down the weapons. I mean, Kyren Williams really showed out last year. He can 3-down back. He can stay in pass protection. He can run routes, and he can run the football. And I think that he really fits the duo scheme that they're probably leaning into now. Of like, we're taking what's there. We're fine taking 5 yards a clip, and we're going to set you up for explosives because you're going to have to send more guys into the box because we have a freaking Mack truck running down the middle of your defense with this interior O line. It's filthy. It's silly how big their interior is. Behind him, I mean, you already talked about Blake Corum some. There's stuff to like from an explosive standpoint.
I think that's going to be the two backs. I don't think you'll see much from these other three guys outside of injury.
Yeah.
I think Blake Corum is the guy you bring in. Maybe I wouldn't be surprised if we see double-digit touchdowns out of Blake Corum. And like I said, I mean, I don't think he'll have very many carries where he's getting less than 2 yards, but he might not have his longest run of the season might be 15.
He's not overly bursty, but like, man, I love his elusiveness. Like his swivel, his agility is really impressive. I just wish he had a little more burst, and like, I don't know, maybe he does. I'm holding out a little hope that with some NFL training, he does have a little more burst.
Yeah, maybe he can get that pop you need, but still, I mean, he's gonna be, you know what he is? He's Marion Barber.
I don't know. That's what I saw on his tape. Like I'm not seeing. I don't think of him as a power back necessarily.
Yeah, maybe not a power back, but I mean,
he's hard to bring down. But like
he's hard to bring down, but he doesn't
hard to get a
grip
on.
Yeah. And yeah, that Michigan team is just hard to judge all around because that offensive line was so good.
Yeah,
but this offensive line is good.
I mean,
running.
Yeah, it's
running the ball is going to be good.
Yeah,
then looking at the receivers, I mean, we talked about Puka, we talked about Cooper Kupp, Tutu Atwell, and Demarcus Robinson at the battle for the 3 spot there. Demarcus Robinson showed some flashes, but under Patrick Mahomes,
he was on fire down the stretch last year.
Yeah. But
like, I picked him up in fantasy, and he damn near won me the championship in our league. Like,
yeah,
he just.
But I mean, that's not having a lot of options in that Chiefs offense. He was in LA last year. He was in LA last year.
He was with the Rams.
Oh, I thought
he was going off down the stretch.
Yeah,
I mean, Cooper Kupp didn't look like himself.
Yeah, I realized that Cooper Kupp was going to retire with the Donald.
Yeah, and I mean, Atwell is he's just a clear out threat. Like, he's a deep threat, maybe a screen guy, but like, yeah, I mean, he's a little limited, but I didn't expect him to do this much in his NFL career. So like, he's proven me wrong.
Yeah. And if you can show that you're solid and you have a grip on the offense, Sean McVay is going to get you the ball.
Yeah. And then not a lot to write home about in the tight end room. I mean, Higbee's been there for forever doing it. Like, he's fine. Colby Parkinson he's a solid blocker. He's a solid 2-way tight end. But like, there's not a ton. He doesn't impress you consistently. It's just like, he does his job and he does it well.
Yeah. No, I think we're gonna see a solid team with solid offense out of these guys.
And then on this O line, I mean, the tackle room I am worried about. I think Havenstein is losing a step. Like, down in the games I watched from the late part of the season into the playoffs, I didn't feel like he was all that impressive. And Alaric Jackson is okay. Like, the tackles, I feel generally fine about the tackles. I don't feel good about either of them, but like, I know they'll be okay. But this interior, if these starters stay healthy, they're gonna be a problem.
And Bo Limmer is probably a future Hall of Famer just because his name's Bo Limmer.
Freaking love Bo Limmer. Love him. He doesn't fit the aesthetic of the other 3 guys here, but Bo Limmer I was pounding the table during the draft for him to go, and he just kept falling. There must be some injury or something that made him fall, because that dude's tape is just heavy metal. But I do have some depth concerns on the interior. If one of these guys go down, it does start to become a pretty big hole. I mean, you can kick Joe Noteboom inside or play Zach Thomas, but like not the Hall of Fame Zach Thomas, but the offensive tackle, offensive guard Zach Thomas. There is some depth concern here that I think could hold them back, but McVay's made magic happen with this offense with worse offensive lines. So like, at the end of the day, I'm not too worried about it, but like, it's something worth considering as a weakness here.
Yeah.
Aaron Donald's gone.
So you just got to hopefully get a good rotation out of Turner, Brown, Johnson, Durden.
Well, Fiske. Braden Fiske is going to be
Fiske
heavy in that.
Tyler Davis.
Fiske. Yeah.
Yeah, I like what they did in the draft. I mean, I like Jared Verse a lot out of Florida State. We talked about how good the defense was last year. And then Braden Fiske. I mean, 2 Florida State guys, great defense last year. Probably should have been in the playoff. Like, I like a guy that's coming in the NFL with the chip on their shoulder. And I feel like both these guys are not being able to prove it last year. Then both ending up with a team like the Rams, who probably getting counted out a lot in this division. I think that's a lot to be said for like mentality for a rookie and having a reason to prove yourself. And I mean, I know they're both high picks, but now they're playing together. They have that camaraderie of like nobody wanted to like they didn't let us play with the big boys last year, and now we're playing with the big boys. Like, let's go out and make a statement type deal. Like,
yeah, I didn't love the Braden Fiske pick, if I'm being honest.
See, add it to the bulletin board.
Add it to the bulletin board. I mean, so I like Kobe Turner. I am a little worried about what he's going to do now that he is the center of attention on this team. Because like he got a lot of single block opportunities last year to win, and those are gone. He's gonna be the focal point now. And Braden Fiske needs to be the guy who probably is taking advantage of that with his quick first step. One of the things I'm worried about with Fiske is he is a less refined player with really short arms who treats his body like he's a Tonka truck. Like, I'm just not. If he stays consistently healthy, I'll be surprised with the way he plays and his inability to control the blockers in front of him because his arms are like 32 inches. That was my main concern with him. I love the way he plays. I love his energy. I'm just not sure it's sustainable at the NFL level because of the way his frame is and the way that he's just gonna take a lot of hits. He's gonna get in a lot of compromising positions. I like Tyler Davis a lot of health concerns there, but I liked that pick a lot. And beyond those three, Turner, Fiske, and Davis, there's just a lack of talent here. Like Bobby Brown has some flashes on occasion, but like it's just I don't see a lot to really like at the edge spot. Jared Verse is nice. He's going to be a nice floor setter for your defense, and he has a decent ceiling. But Byron Young, I think, ate a lot off of Donald and Turner last year. I'm not sure how that goes now. I love Michael Hoke's effort, his hustle, but I'm just not sure he's a difference maker out there. And like this D line as a whole, I get really concerned about going forward because I just think Aaron Donald meant so much to them in that playoff game against Detroit. When Donald wasn't on the field, it felt like they were dead in the water.
Yeah, and losing a guy like Donald, I mean, it's
huge. It's massive.
One of the best of all time. So.
Yeah. And then at linebacker, I mean, I was truly really surprised by Ernest Jones' stats because on tape, I in the playoff game, I kind of keyed in on him. I just saw a lot of missed tackles. So maybe it was just a bad game from him. Maybe he's been according to the stats, he's been a lot better than that. So I'll need to go back and take a look at some of the other games. But based on the playoff game, I just saw missed tackles kind of all over. Roseboom, I think they really like him. I haven't really been able to figure out why throughout the tape and the stats, and I don't see a lot to really like. I see a guy who he plays hard, the effort's there, but I don't see a guy who is going to make much of a difference on Sundays. And then in the cornerback room, you go sign Darius Williams, nice signing. You go bring in Tre'Davious White, nice upside signing coming off the injury, but like, it might not still be there. I'm still concerned. I was concerned about the cornerback room last year. I'm less concerned this year than I was last year. We've got Quentin Lake in there as a cornerback. I think he's actually a safety. So that was just an error on my part, but he was listed as a corner at the time, so I threw him in there as a corner. Trey Tomlinson, maybe there's something there. He was a decently high draft pick, I believe, like 3rd round, maybe. LaDainian Tomlinson's nephew, I believe.
TCU.
Yeah. And then Kobe Durant's in there. I mean, it's just the cornerback room feels like kind of a ragtag of names that, Darius Williams, I think there's something there. I think he's a good football player.
Yeah.
And behind that, a lot of questions.
Yeah. And if Tre'Davious White can get back to even half of what he was, I mean, he can be solid for you. So yeah, I think this is just going to be a wait and see type deal. And you look at this division, and people want to run the ball in the division, but at the same time, like, there are very clear threats. So if you show weakness in that DB room, could be a long season.
Yeah, and I mean, I do think there's some nice stuff in their safety room. I thought Cam Curl was an excellent signing for them.
Yeah.
I think he's a strong football player, strong in coverage. I think Quentin Lake showed some stuff to like at safety last year, and Russ Yeast. I mean, I think he's supposed to be a starter, but I'm not really sure. I like Quentin Lake more. I think Quentin Lake played more of a hybrid role.
Yeah.
And I don't like him just because he has the same first name as me. I actually did like his tape. But Russ Yeast, I didn't really see a lot of reason to like him. I mean, maybe he's a risk taker. I see a high forcing completion rate here. So maybe he does a good job of getting in the passing lanes. But I don't know. Nothing really stood out to me on his tape that much as it did for Quentin Lake. And then they got Cam Kinchins in the third round. So you see Cam Kinchins coming in there potentially being a starter at some point. I mean, he's a dog. He'll smack you in the mouth. Cam Kinchins is fun to watch. He's slow, but he's a dog.
Yeah, so looking at this, we have 8.5 win total. We have playoffs at plus 100, minus 122 for missing. Win the division at plus 330, Super Bowl at 3,200, NFC champs at plus 1,400. What do you like here?
Playoffs, maybe over, but I don't even love over. I think I just like playoffs.
I think 3-1 on the division is not bad. I mean, we just talked about 49ers about winning 13, 14 games, but I mean, I think this team can win a lot of games, and then you can never really predict outside factors as far as injuries and stuff like that go. 3-1 odds with as much offensive talent you have here. If the defense can play well, I mean, I don't hate that. But yeah, probably playoffs at even money. I think this will be a playoff team.
Yeah, I mean, I have to trust Sean McVay.
Yeah,
he's just going to find a way. I think this offense is set up to really put up a lot of points and potentially win some real barn burners. Like, I think Matt Stafford played some of the best football of his career last season. I think that can go a long way when a guy's playing like that. I think he's a big eraser for them. Like, he just makes a lot of stuff look right and happen the right way. So ultimately, I think playoffs is my bet there. And we'll get to their schedule here. Just let me get it up on the screen. Open the season, Jared Goff versus Matt Stafford 2.0. I don't think the Rams lose that game.
Yeah, in Detroit though, I mean, after the season the Lions just had, I don't think the Lions lose that game, but
I have got to say, I went back and watched that playoff Rams-Lions game. Detroit shot themselves in the foot so many times all game.
Yeah.
Like that, like Matt Stafford was the reason the Rams were in that game. Like, he was just willing them at times. And it was just like the Lions just kept letting the Rams back into the game. Like, it was just ugly.
Yeah, I mean, nothing too crazy here. We have a Bills matchup. I like the Bills in, that you like the Rams. We have a matchup versus the Jets that we're split on. But I mean, for the most part, we're kind of even here outside of that first week.
And we both got them at 10-7.
Yeah.
You play to win the game. Hello? You play to win the game. You don't play to just play it.